One of the most difficult things to deal with as an AI filmmaker isn't so much learning the tools or coming up with concepts even. It's this: you're mid-project and a new model drops. What do you do? On one hand, it's exciting because you know it's going to take the technology further. But on the other hand, you're mid-project. You spent so much time putting this project together, and now what you did is outdated. Do you scrap it and move on to the next project? Keep going with the tools that you've been using? Or do you rework what you've already done? I've done all three.
Yum, 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 yum.
If you're new here, welcome. This is Jen Candy. I'm Dan Prussman. I've been in film and production most of my career, and over the past several years have been incorporating AI into my workflows. And this particular project I did a year ago, and I actually did finish this one, although there are several that I did abandon. But this particular one I finished, but it was never to my liking, mostly because the tools just weren't there yet. And lately I've been thinking about it and thinking that I should revisit it now that the tools have gotten better. This was originally for a fictitious headphone brand that I created called Loop Headphones. Well, there's now a Loop Headphones out there, so I created a new brand called Helio Headphones, and I redid the spot. And we'll look at that today. But first, let's take a look at the original.
In the rush of the morning chaos, find your calm. And in the roar of the crowd, find your focus. Loop Headphones by Sanctuary Labs. Bersan pauses life. Listen.
At the time, that really felt like a breakthrough. And to be fair, at the time it was a breakthrough, but the tools have come so far. I mean, if you look at this spot, you can really see where the technology is struggling. Physics are definitely not there. Look at the steam from the coffee cup, all wrong. Morphing, all over the place. Just all the motion in general just feels a little not right. But that's those tools. Now fast forward to today, and you can't even compare the two. Let's take a look.
In the rush of the morning chaos, find your calm. And in the roar of the crowd, find your focus. Helio Headphones, where sound pauses life. Listen.
So there you go. Same idea, different tools. The concept never changed, but the tool's ability to realize that concept changed dramatically. So really through this whole project, the intent has stayed consistent, right? So I wanted it to be cinematic. I wanted it to be relatable on a human level. And I wanted it to look like a real spot. I didn't want it to look like an AI experiment. And to be honest, the original looked like an AI experiment, mostly because it really was an AI experiment. And the only things that have really changed between the two are the tools got better. I put a new voiceover actor in, and I upgraded the sound design by bringing in a professional. Shout out to Bill Donnelly. When a new model drops, it's hard to not want to realize your vision to the best that you can. And that's where a lot of creators abandon projects. And I've done it myself. I have hard drives full of abandoned projects for that very reason. But abandoned projects don't necessarily mean that they're forgotten. And that's one thing that I learned from this project. Not only did I get to realize my vision, but I also remembered that at the beginning, my original intent was to do a whole campaign. And so I created several vignettes for this campaign that never were realized, but now they will be, because I've been able to create this concept to a level of my satisfaction. So now I can move on and do the other ones that I was originally planning. So the key here is you can abandon projects and move on to the next one, no problem. Just don't forget them, because quite often there could be little gold nuggets that you forgot about. There are reasons to abandon projects. Maybe the tools just aren't there yet. The other option is continue with the tools that you've been using. And honestly, this is probably in most cases where I would lean, mostly because momentum is so important in this game. And if you go back, you risk losing momentum. But there are also reasons to go back. And I think it's really project dependent, and how far you've already come with the project. Maybe going back and reworking some things is not that big a deal. And in that case, you should definitely do it. But this also brings up a bigger issue. And the bigger issue is these tools are evolving so quickly. And in a lot of cases, our creative processes are not evolving so quickly to keep up with that pace. So I think it's something that we all have to start thinking about and figure out what our processes are and how we can compress them and be able to finish projects faster without burning ourselves out, because that's important too. So that's what I've been putting a lot of thought into lately. And for myself, I've come up with a pipeline. I'm calling it Rocket Spot because it sounds fast, but it's basically, it's compressing all of the processes that don't really involve human taste or feeling or perspective. So there's a lot of processes in between those points. Those points are, I call them taste in the loop. In programming, they usually call it human in the loop, and it's where the human has to make decisions so that the system or the AI or whatever doesn't just run amok. In my case, it's more, I want to make sure that the humanity stays in the project the whole way through. So I compress what's compressible, and I inject myself at certain spots. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, definitely like, subscribe, hit the bell, whatever, all that stuff. And I'll see you in the next one.
Yum, 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 yum.